Hello, everyone, especially my 53 subscribers. Today I am starting a brand new game called A Pinch of Magic, and I am feeling it. Yes, it has an amazing soundtrack. I really hope it's not copyrighted. Yes, it is June, and June is Pride Month. It's my True to You shirt. I just looked up LGBT games on Steam, and this came up. Fun fact, if you look up LGBT games, a lot of witches. A lot of witch stuff. I mean, I dig it. I'm all about it. Off to the side here, I have like my tarot cards, my healing stones, all that good stuff. So, you know, I'm all about the magics. But yes, this game apparently has, I think, 3 pathways to it. And it just says, A Pinch of Magic is a modern fantasy slice of life dating sim about restoring your grandma's failing cafe. So, let's play! All right, I could listen to this all day. All dang day. But let us get started. What is your name? My name is Patrick. My pronouns, am I a he, him, a she, her, or a they, them? I know I personally am a he, him. So. Hooah! Oh, I love how that music just faded. Oh my god, that was amazing. I let out a freeing yawn as I leaped down from the bus onto the pavement below, bags in hand. Finally, made it. Drinking in the familiar surroundings, I take a moment to execute some quick squats. Clearly not me. The brisk stretcher size is exactly what my compressed muscles ordered. All stiff from the several hour-long bus ride from the city to the sea. Oh, okay, this does sound a little bit more like me then. I wonder if this is how Jack-in-the-Boxes feel when they pop out. Newly energized, I extend my arms to the tropical sun as if to pluck it from the sky and take in a greedy lungful of delicious sea air. Oh, I do love that. I love going to the ocean and just like the salty air. Ugh. As always, the warm climate here on the coast feels as though it's welcoming me back home, back to the place where I belong. I've missed this, all of it, and ahead of me is a summer-long period of peace and respite. I just graduated high school. From now on, there will be no parents, teachers, or peers reminding me with every breath that I'm waiting to the end of my teenage years with no direction. Well, that's cheery. Just the sun, the sea, and this place. My destination? The tranquil seaside town of Linsdale. Nestled in a quiet, crescent-shaped cove on the coast and licked by the starry, deep blue water waves of the East Sea, some people have taken to affectionately nicknaming it Moon Bay. A pretty occultic name, all things considered. But it always seemed perfectly apt because it's also the town my grandmother, my Baba, calls home. And she just so happens to be an exceptional and absolutely eccentric witch. For the first time in 3 years, she'd asked me to visit this summer, and I can't wait to resume my magic training. My fingers, electrified, are already tingling at the prospect. I reach into the pocket of my hoodie, feeling for the letter she'd sent, making sure it's still there. Cursive on vellum and a wax seal? Yep, nobody except that wily old woman would write like this anymore. Side note, Dorian and I so want our own, crest and seal. Unable to hide my eagerness to see her again, I hoist my bag up onto my shoulder and take off at a sprint up the staircase, leaving the bus stop far behind. And once I leap across the threshold of the stairway's end, I see the sight I've longed for and open my lungs wide. Hello, coffee curiosities! I'm home! It reminds me of my childhood. Of iced tea in summer, sea salt ice cream, and a freer days spent under Baba's tutelage. That in itself is a rare kind of magic that leaves me spellbound. Naturally, my peppy cry draws the attention of several passers-by outside the store, many of whom recognize me and wave in greeting. Well, I'll be if it isn't Patrick. Been a spell since we've seen you back. I don't know why they're southern there by the ocean. Still kept that strange habit of greeting the cafe like it's a person, I see. I just gave that woman a very masculine voice. Well, she's not wrong. I guess I'm a little old to be shouting in public. You're never too old to shout in public. But as Baba used to say, a witch breathes magic and life into all things. Every word is a charm, every sentence a spell. I don't know why I'm making these characters from the South. Now that I think about it, it's totally possible that she was just hoodwinking an extremely gullible 5-year-old. But oh well. It's a cute tradition, so who cares? Hey there, it's good to see you again. Do you know if my grandmother is about? The question seems to give her pause, and she forces a smile, which can only be read as guilty embarrassment. Oh, you mean she... Well, I'm not too sure. I haven't been in for a coffee for a while, you see. Anyway, nice seeing you, kid. Before I have a chance to respond, she scuffles off over the hill, leaving me stranded in confusion at the shop door. What the hemlock was that all about? Glancing over the cafe again, my eyes narrow suspiciously and roam up and down the building. I finally notice an extremely telling clue. It's the height of morning, and yet the curtains are shut. Tight. Fishier still is how quiet it is. Wait, don't tell me. I practically kick the door down in my provoked state, and once inside, all of my suspicions are confirmed. Not only are the lights all switched off, not only are there no customers, not only has the door clearly been left unlocked with complete disregard to the nasty draughts, thieves or trespassers, but on top of that, Baba is nowhere to be found. I stomp across the cafe floor in big strides, making a beeline for the door at the far end of the room. A door hidden by a heavy satin curtain and bewitched to be invisible to all non-magic folk. I stop dead in my tracks. In the secret room, piled floor to ceiling with mystical objects, is Baba's crystal ball table. A table radiating with memories of afternoons sitting in her lap, poring over dusty tomes and having the wonders of magic whispered in my ear. And now on that table, clearly awaiting my arrival, is a small paper ornament, an enchanted letter folded into the shape of a miniature rabbit. Oh, fun fact, rabbits are actually a huge symbol for gay culture. Not a lot of people are aware of that. But yeah, it's a huge Eastern thing. Might do a video on that later. When I enter the room, it turns up its ears and bounds up from its slumber, hopping to the table's edge to greet me. I skeptically scoop up the paper rabbit in my hand, and at the touch of my finger upon its nose, it unravels itself. Sure enough, my grandmother has inked a note in cursive inside. My dearest Patrick, I have run away. Since I was the one who invited you to stay with me this summer, I'll venture that this will come as a shock to you. It wasn't part of my plan, but running the cafe is beginning to feel rather droll. Then I remembered it's mugwort season, and also that the witch folk are hosting a mushroom picking festival in the mountains. Much less droll, by far. Do not come searching for me. Write to me, though, if you want me to bring you back some mugwort. Otherwise, I shall bring you nothing. Take care of the place while I'm gone. P.S. I hope you have money. The pantry is empty. Okay, very eccentric old woman. I knew it! That wayward old witch. Slumping onto one of the table's squishy cushions, I throw my arms up in defeat. I absolutely should have expected this. Flying through life by the seat of her pants, living by her every whim, dropping things when they no longer suit her. This entire situation reaches into the far recesses of my mind, conjuring up echoes of countless other past examples of how mercurial Baba could be. It's a new word for me. Closing up at noon to go skinny dipping in the ocean, hosting a luau party, then passing out after an hour of her own deadly magic punch. Her crimes of capriciousness knew no bounds. She may have taught me everything I know of magic, but early on I had to master brewing tea and coffee, not just potions, just to keep this place running smoothly. It suddenly dawns on me exactly what that passerby had acted so suspiciously about. I bet she cut and run days ago and told everyone in town not to breathe a word. No matter how you cut it, she's just running from her responsibilities again. I seriously have no clue how she managed to keep this place running all these years. My lips press themselves into a thin, stubborn line. Mugwort tea is my favorite, though. I guess it's time to go shopping. An hour or so later, I've made begrudging progress on the cafe's sorry state. With the doors now locked and the curtains still tightly drawn, I make use of the privacy by enchanting Baba's dustpan and broom and setting them to work on the floor. After a brief inspection, all that remains in the fridge is a curdled bottle of milk. The pantry cupboards had also been harboring nothing but dust, but were saved earlier by a trip to the local supermarket. Rest in peace, poor wallet. Luckily, it also seems the cafe's more expensive wares are in plentiful stock. The exotic plethora of tea leaves and unground coffee beans have been safely stored in bags or dry containers. The siphons, mills, and other apparatus too are in good working condition. Knowing Baba's devil-may-care attitude, the situation here could have been far worse. I should count my blessings she didn't let any rats inside. That moment, as if my words had personally offended her efforts, Baba's cat slink into the room and up onto the counter to glare at me. There you are, Hannibal, a witch's familiar reduced to a rat catcher. How the mighty have fallen in the wrong hands. But since you don't have anything better to do, if you see any about, you be sure to let me know. When I reach across the counter to scratch beneath her neck, she forgets her grumpiness in a heartbeat and pads off into the bedroom for an afternoon nap. With the dustpan and broom soon done with their work, I thank them for their service and quickly finish putting the cupboard in order. After a satisfying stretch, I pull back the curtain to survey the place triumphantly. Watch out, Linsdale. We're back in business. Standing there with hands on hips, it's a funny feeling that courses through in my chest. A kind of liberation and pride that comes from being free to wantonly spellcast for the first time in a painfully long while. Now then, the last port of call is to flip the signs, and after that, I guess it's time to brew some criminally delicious coffee. But as soon as I step outside, I pause. My senses are once more splashed with the salty air, the sun's warmth, and the far-off songs of soaring flocks of seagulls. Well, I've worked pretty hard if I do say so myself. Just a little stretch of the legs beforehand couldn't hurt. And so, with slow, meandering strides, I cross the pavement and pace down the small stone staircase, heading for the beachfront. I take my time enjoying the afternoon breeze and the journey all the way to the boardwalk and beyond. When I reach the beach's edge, I slide off my shoes and press on, free and barefoot in the sand. As ever, Moonbay, you're almost too perfect for words. I plop myself down in the sand, stretching out my legs and searching along the water's surface for something. I wonder if she's still out there. But before I continue that thought, the phone in my back pocket hums, and when I retrieve it, I see several texts incoming from my parents. Their messages cascade simultaneously into the group chat, making it plainly obvious they're both sitting behind each other, typing with a joint agenda.
Did you arrive safely? You forgot to text us. We were worried.
How's Baba? Is she doing well? How's her back?
And there it is. I sigh, typing back my regular response whenever they awkwardly attempt to bring her up. If they're worried, they could always, try talking to her yourself, Dad. I'm sure she'd like to hear from you. From both of you. After a brief exchange, ending in, I love yous all around, I fling my phone to the side and fall back into the sand. The history between my parents and Baba was fractured, to say the least. In this world, where so few people are gifted with the ability to wield magic, we hide what we are for an easier life. Hundreds of years ago, those without the gift feared us, persecuted us, and worse. The world was messy. The witch folk decided almost unanimously that it was better to fade into anonymity than cause trouble. Nowadays, as far as the rest of normal society is concerned, it's known that we exist out there somewhere, but rarely do you see a witch shouting it from the rooftops. Despite the good I know we do, there's no glory in it all. So as for my parents and Baba, well, Baba had always been an immensely talented witch. The first time I was sent here to stay with her for the summer, I was 3. She showed me a few simple spells, and even though I could barely speak, I guess I was a natural. I still remember her sweeping me up when I successfully levitated a paperclip. She was so giddy, it was impossible for her to contain herself. But my parents were different. They never taught me magic, never encouraged me to learn it. All they wished for me was an utterly normal life. They asked Baba to stop teaching me, And that was that. When they'd found out I'd flown in the face of their disapproval and had secretly been studying hard under Baba every summer for 10 years, oh boy. I remember that day. Dad's face went a shade of blue I didn't think was possible outside of being hexed. After that, their relationship became strained. They stopped talking. I became their mediator, their owl ferrying messages back and forth. I stopped visiting Linsdale for a while to give them all time to cool off. If only witch folk didn't have to hide who we are. As I raise myself back up to hug my knees, I realize that I've been absentmindedly dragging my finger through the sand all this time. I've drawn nothing remotely artistic, of course, just a bunch of badly drawn swirls and that barely resemble any shapes. They're almost as terrible as Kai's. A spark reignites a recollection in my mind, a spark which sends me flying back to before I had been interrupted by my parents' messages, back to the thought of a friend from long ago. My eyes met the sea again. Kai is home, my childhood friend, who had been as much part of my summer in Linsdale as my grandmother. She was an extraordinary person in her own right, a mermaid who befriended a witch. Shy and a little fumbling in the beginning, she barely grasped human language. Kai was just about the only sound she could make. We'd communicated by drawing shapes in the sand, and though hers were terrible, I got pretty good at deciphering them. I could still clearly remember our first meeting. Here on the shore, I was 5. Mom and Dad had just asked Baba to stop teaching me magic, and I was wailing into the ocean at the top of my lungs. And it was only once my tears had dried up that I noticed a curious baby mermaid who'd snuck away from home to investigate the surface was peering at me through the waves. Kai, that's right. I wonder if she and her family even still swim in these waters. With renewed purpose, I leap up and dust myself off. Determined, I set off up and down the beach once again, this time with my eyes to the sand, scouring the golden floor for a very particular object. And finally, wedging between some barnacled rocks, I find exactly what I'm looking for. A prismatic conch, shimmering and weighty to the touch. And more importantly, in the hands of a witch, it's a horn that, when blown, can sing a song only a mermaid can hear. It was an ancient spell Baba had taught me as a child, used by the old witches in time of strife to call mermaids to their aid. And together, Kai and I had repurposed it. Since the day we met, it'd been my way of communicating to her. I'm here, I want to see you. Well, I suppose there's only one way to find out if she's still out there, listening for me. So, reaching into the recesses of my mind for the ancient spell, I pluck out its melody, note by note, and whisper my request to the shell at my fingertips. Weight of the waves, my bottomless heartbeat, an ocean of love, built just for thee. And if thou art astray, in faraway foam, the song of my sea will call you home. As the conch begins to gleam, I gather my breath and blow gently into its tip. But no matter how many times I call, Kai doesn't appear. The waves simply keep rolling over the sand at my feet, slowly soaking in and causing me to sink. So, she left in search of somewhere better after all. No Baba and no Kai. This truly was shaping up to be a pretty miserable summer. 3 years ago when I said goodbye and left Linsdale. I didn't know it. I didn't know it would be the last time. I didn't get the chance to tell her. Somewhat sad, my shoulders droop a little. She was always so timid and unsure of herself. I wonder if she waited every summer for me to come back. And I never did. But never one to let sadness get the better of me for long. I clapped my cheeks together. At the very least, I knew that right now, what I could do is see her off with a smile. I'm sorry, Kai, but I hope wherever you are, you're swimming happy. And that your drawings don't suck anymore. After exhaling my feelings cathartically into the afternoon air, I turn heel and head back towards the stairs. It's time to open the cafe for the evening. But as my head swims with thoughts of coffee beans, recipes, and measurements, I forget to check for obstacles in my path, and before I knew it, wah! I collide with someone else. Yeah, me. Hard. A beautiful woman. Oh, I'm sorry, please excuse me. The bump had successfully knocked me down a stair or two, but as I shake off the pain, her eyes meet mine. Her golden irises, her amethyst hair, everything about her beauty is dazzling, and it temporarily catches me off guard. I run my fingers through my hair, somewhat embarrassed. Not at all, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention either. Are you alright? Yes, I... Her quiet voice quickly trails off, but she continues to stare at me with great intensity, looking me up and down with wide eyes. That's right, the cafe, I don't have time to be wasting here. So I flash her a polite smile, and shooting back up the hill, excuse myself. Well, I'm sorry again. Have a nice evening. All right, I think that is where I'm going to cut it for today. We haven't actually gotten to make any choices yet, but this is a really nice, really provocative introduction. I've still yet to see a little bit where the like LGBTQ storyline comes in. Maybe if I had chosen to be a female, or a they them, it would already kind of be starting, but we know that we are in this like nice seaside little village. It already kind of tugs at my heartstrings. We're a witch. We have a mermaid friend. There's some girl with amethyst hair, which I am all about. Look at this amethyst lighting behind me. But yes, I will be doing this periodically throughout the month. I think this is going to be a 2 or 3 times a week one until we finish it. It's supposed to be a pretty quick story, but that took literally half an hour to just get through the introduction. I think we're actually going to start making choices now. But yeah, so if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a like. Comment below how you're enjoying the story, where you think it's going. If you like any of these characters, or if you comply with the story in any way yet. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you're not new and just haven't subscribed yet, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!